Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX fundamental and technical analysis video banger. In today's video, we're going to be diving down the rabbit hole, going over some XRP and Hbar price analysis, covering fundamentals, keeping you guys in the loop with what to be paying attention to this week, potentially driving risk on, risk off market sentiment. If you enjoy these video breakdowns and these price analytics, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the platform. We have been calling out phenomenal trade setups across multiple platforms, both on X and on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, make sure that you do so now, so that way you don't miss a beat on any of these updates. This week, we're going to predominantly be focusing on Hbar and XRP. Last week and the previous week, we were focusing on ICP, AGIX, and Hbar. We're going to focus our attention on XRP and Hbar this week. So if you are XRP and Hbar holders, pay attention, because these accurates that we've been giving out are extremely accurate. First, before we dive into the fundamentals, before we dive into the technical analysis, I just want to show you guys the massive list of delta zones that our institutional scalper just updated our private community with. So if you guys want access to any of these institutional deltas on any of these digital assets, you guys have direct access to them via our private monthly Discord. We have now 103 members in our private monthly Discord, so we only have 97 slots left available to the general public. You guys can see a massive list of digital assets that he updated this morning. Phenomenal accuracy across the board. So check those out. Now, first part of this video breakdown, we're going to get into the weekly recap, going over why risk assets were extremely bullish last week, continuing the demand overall across the board. We saw Bitcoin surge. We saw multiple altcoins increase across the board as well. We're going to go over that so that way you guys have a fundamental understanding and knowledge base as to what has been happening in the market surrounding fundamentals and macroeconomics. Then we're going to get into what to expect this week, and then we will get into the technical analysis. So I will leave timestamps in the description down below in case you guys don't want the boring fundamental part and you just want the price predictions and the analysis. So check out the description down below for the timestamps. So let's cover fundamentals. Just to give you guys a weekly recap, this is what we deliver to the CYPRX students, so that way we are constantly keeping them engaged with what's going on via market fundamentals. This is a recap of last week. Last week, we witnessed a surge in risk assets. Why? This was driven by massive record inflows in the Bitcoin ETFs, coupled with weaker US data and downward trend in inflation's continuing, further supporting the greed that has been driving risk assets that we've been talking about on our CYPRX platforms for the past couple of months now, to the market pricing and rate cuts from major central banks. The month of February ended with notable economic indicators reflecting potential economic challenges. Durable goods orders saw a significant decline, particularly in the commercial aircraft bookings, highlighting uncertainty in business investment outlooks and hinting at a loss of economic momentum. This stuff is extremely important as a risk asset investor, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't know why your risk assets are moving, you cannot adjust your portfolios accordingly. Now, I've been doing this recently for the CYPRX students, giving them quizzes on fundamentals so that way they stay engaged and they stay in the loop. Again, all this information jam-packed in the CYPRX monthly Discord. Let's continue. Midweek, what did we see last week? Consumer confidence faltered as the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index slipped, with downward revisions in January, figures indicating stagnant confidence levels despite previous gains. Thursday's PCE report revealed a decrease in inflation towards the Federal's target of the overall goal of 2%, with a notable slowdown in consumer spending, especially on durable goods, suggesting a possible economic slowdown. Now, albeit we know that it is coming down slightly, it is not coming down as fast pace as the Federal Reserve would like it. So keep that in mind as we head into this upcoming week and data month ahead. Friday, we saw the dollar retreat amidst disappointing economic news, including a decline in the ISM manufacturing index, unexpected drops in construction spending, and downward revisions of consumer sentiment. These developments fueled speculation about potential Fed rate cuts, which again has been driving demand for risk assets over the past couple of months since pretty much late October in 2023, as the unexpected decline in the ISM manufacturing PMI renewed risk appetite amongst investors, leading to expectations of accommodated Fed policy, right? So that is our weekly recap. Now let's forward look into this week. Again, I showed you guys the fundamental website, forexfactory.com, where you can go and track all this stuff for free at no expense to you. Again, I personally use the Reuters terminal. However, you guys can go and use the Forex Factory website for free to track these things. Now, looking ahead into this week, what could potentially cause a risk on or risk off market move? This is extremely important. We have massive events taking place this week. So our focus is going to shift towards these key data releases and events in the US. Tuesday, starting the week, will kick off with ISM Services PMI figures, providing insights into the health of the services sector. This will be followed by the ADP non-farm employment change report, offering a preview of Friday's highly anticipated jobs report. This is important because last time this information came out, we saw the dollar start its increase and incline all the way up into roughly around the 104.900. So that's extremely important to be paying attention to, along with JOLTS job opening data on Tuesday. Wednesday marks Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's testimony before Congress, where he is expected to reiterate the Fed's patient approach to interest rate decisions, particularly in the light of persistent inflationary pressures. Powell's tone will be closely scrutinized for any hints of a shift in policy stance. Remember, a more hawkish monetary policy tone from Jerome Powell on Wednesday will most likely lead to a risk-off market mood and a pullback in risk assets. Inversely, a more dovish tone could lead to a continued risk-on market mood and an increase in demand for risk assets. So be paying attention to that here at CYPRX. We will be. On Thursday, attention will be on unemployment claims data and remarks from various Fed speakers sprinkled throughout the day. Investors will be attentive to the dovish or hawkish tones in their comments, just like in Jerome Powell's speech, which could provide further insights into the future of monetary policy decisions. Ideally, for risk asset investors, what we would like to see is a more dovish tone, hinting at potential interest rate cuts, signaling that inflation is cooling to the pace that the Federal Reserve would like it to be at, right? So just keep that in mind. On the opposite side of the spectrum, if they deliver a more hawkish tone, again, that could weigh on risk assets and create a pullback scenario that here at CYPRX we will be taking advantage of. Finally, Friday brings the monthly jobs report. This is key economic data, where the highlight of the week's data persists on Friday. Economists anticipate moderate payroll growth in February compared to the previous month, with jobless rate expected to hold steady and hourly earnings growth likely cooling. This report will offer critical indicators of labor market's health and potential implications for the broader economy. So now let's get into the price predictions. Again, if you guys have enjoyed the video breakdowns that we've delivered so far and previous technical analysis breakdowns showing you guys how accurate these delta zones are that we give to the private CYPRX community, coupled with fundamental analysis and technical understanding while controlling psychology and risk management, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the platform. We showed you guys last week CYPRX members across the board gathering significant gains in their portfolio, absolutely slaughtering the market last week. So let's continue with that momentum this week. First, we're going to cover XRP. So just giving you guys some screenshots from our private Discord, you can see here on Monday, February 26th at roughly around 6:35 p.m., we had mentioned to the private CYPRX community that if any point in time XRP can hold above 55 cents, I'd be looking for a move into 60 to 65 cents. You can see that screenshot and where it was sent to the private community, roughly at around 55 cents. Well, from that screenshot, XRP did break above 55 cents, had a nice retest. Interestingly enough, this retest of that 55-cent range was during the Coinbase debacle, where Coinbase temporarily shut down services to clients across the board. From that, we had a slight recovery and increased demand at around 55 cents, and we rallied all the way up into our target of around 65 cents. Now, giving the students an update in the private community, again, keeping them attentive, keeping them engaged before the move plays out on Saturday, March 2nd at 7:44 a.m., you can see here, we have been calling out for a potential scenario in terms of XRP daily analysis. Here is a scenario that I'm considering where I said deeper retracement buy opportunities will be sought if the price can head down into 52, 55 to 58 cents, recognizing that healthy pullbacks may occur. You can see the time in which I sent this to the community was at a top, price decreased significantly down into our key psychological level of around 58 cents and reversed back to the upside, delivering buying opportunities for either intraday positions for leveraged traders or dollar cost average positions for those individuals that are just looking to build better portfolios and buy at the bottom of price action and not at the top. So you guys can see two significant key updates that I gave to the private CYPRX community, keeping them in the loop. Now let's get into price analysis. What do I think could potentially happen given a risk on, risk off market environment this week? Let's cover risk on first. So risk on, obviously, of course, meaning a further demand in risk assets, dovish tone from Federal Reserve, and dwindling economic data, rate cut hopes staying and remaining high on the table. What I'm looking for on XRP is going to be three specific scenarios. Primarily for a risk on market mood, scenario number one that I would like to see on XRP is for price to hold above the 62-cent threshold, break above 63 cents, and to see further buy continuous momentum head us back up into the high 60-cent range, looking at targets of around 67 cents. If we can at any point in time break that 67-cent threshold, the next bullish target that I'd be looking for on XRP will be roughly at around the previous highs all the way back on November 2023 of around 75 cents. That would be scenario number one for continued risk on market mood this week. Scenario number two for better buy positions for a continued risk on market mood this week would be if we can see a slight decrease at the beginning of the week, given that the beginning of the week persists with a risk off market mood, creating a pullback in risk assets to better position ourselves for further buy positions down here in the low 55-cent range. Or if we can come down into these previous demand ranges, I'd be looking for some type of accumulation, looking for further and better buy positions down here in the low 55-cent threshold. Underneath the 55 cents, the last demand range that I'd be looking for buys on XRP before we reverse our bias to a more bearish scenario is if we can come all the way down on the daily time frame into the 52-cent range to look for better buys. Obviously, of course, if you're an intraday scalper, you could be looking for sells down into this area if the market mood sours intraday and we do see a decline in price. Obviously, of course, adjust your risk and assess your risk accordingly. With that being said, scenario number one on XRP, if we see an increase in demand for risk assets this week, i.e. risk on market mood, to solidify this analysis, will be a break and hold above 62 cents to come back up into 67. Again, if we break 67 cents at any point in time, our next bullish target will be 75 cents. Scenario number two would be a slight pullback down into 55 cents for better buy positions to take price higher. And scenario number three, with a continued risk on market mood, would be deeper retracements down into the low 50-cent range, i.e. 52 to 51 cents, to better position ourselves for buys. Now, inversely, if at any point in time we break the significant demand range of around 52 cents on XRP, right? That'll be my last area of interest where I will remain bullish above as long as price is above 52 cents, okay? If price at any point in time breaks 52 cents, our next immediate bearish target will be 48 cents. I will give you guys updates as the week goes on. If we break 52 cents, again, our next immediate bearish target, if the risk mood sours and we see a risk off market mood, strengthen the dollar, hawkish tone via Federal Reserve speakers, and we see risk assets decline in value, then a break of 52 cents and we will be targeting 48 cents as our next area of interest to either look for a market turnaround or target profit taking for intraday sell positions. All right. So XRP in a nutshell, Hbar. Okay. Hbar, phenomenal callouts in previous video breakdowns. You guys can see here another screenshot from our private CYPRX community. Again, giving the students a technical and fundamental breakdown ahead of the curve. You can see Sunday, February 25th, given the timestamp, we mentioned to everybody that if we saw a scenario where downbeat US data, lower inflation readings played out, rate cut narrative persisting, and dollar remaining below 104.100, we would most likely see a bullish continuation on the digital asset Hbar. And sure enough, what levels were we targeting? 12.5 cents as our first take profit area on Hbar. And you can see from that area where we mentioned to the CYPRX members that we were looking for 12.5 cents to come into fruition, given again the recap that I gave you all, what took place? Increased demand in risk assets, lower inflation readings, dollar weak, right? So all the fundamentals played out to the absolute T. What did we see? Hbar increased significantly, tapping into our predetermined psychological level delta zones for profit taking intraday at 12.5 cents to the absolute T of a degree, right? So now where do we sit on Hbar? Same thing as XRP. Ideally, what we would like to see starting off the week and ending the week is an increase in risk on sentiment, i.e. driving demand further for risk assets. In a scenario like that, what we would be looking for on Hbar for scenario number one is continuation buys above 11.5 cents to take us into the high 12 range, for us to hold above 12 cents, and for us to dig higher up into the high 13s. Scenario number 2 for continued risk on market mood would be a slight intraday pullback down into the low 10-cent range. As long as price can hold above 10 cents, we will be continuing to look for buy positions for price to break back above the previous highs at around 12.5 cents to come up into 13 cents. Last but not least, our very last area of interest before we reverse our bullish bias remains above the 9-cent range, where as long as price on Hbar is above 9 cents, we're going to persist with this bullish bias that, give or take some slight intraday pullbacks, we could still see price pull back to previous demand ranges, where you can see from around 9 cents, we expanded all the way up into 12.5 cents for price to come down, revisit those lows, and for us to flip back to the upside, targeting again 13 cents. If at any point in time we see a significant change in market sentiment, meaning that we see a risk-off market mood, we break at the same time below 10 cents, our first bearish targets will be 9 cents, where we will reassess the market sentiment. If the market sentiment continues and persists with a risk-off market sentiment, our next bearish targets after 9 cents, if we see a sell-off on Hbar and a failure to break above the previous highs at around 12.5 cents takes place, the next bearish targets in zone that we will be looking for comes down and in at around the low 7s, right? Where we'd be looking for Hbar to correct some more of this previous bullish move, looking for targets at around 7.5 to 7 cents for some further either dollar cost average positions or better positioning ourselves for leverage buys. So XRP, Hbar in a nutshell with the fundamental breakdown, giving you guys an insight into what to be paying attention to this week. Do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Make sure that you guys are setting alarms. None of this is financial advice. These are our personal projections and technical analysis on these given assets. Many blessings to you guys. Be cognizant, be aware. I'll update you guys as the week persists. However, remember that the predominant fundamental factor that we are set to be paying attention to this week isn't set to come out till Friday. So most likely scenario is I will give you guys an update midweek and then give you guys an update on all these price predictions as we head into the weekend after the market digests the data that's set to come out throughout the entirety of the week. Many blessings to you guys. As always, be cognizant, be aware, make sure that you are assessing your risk properly. If you guys want further fundamental technical analysis and Delta Zone insights, again, consider joining our monthly subscription service by visiting CYPRXtrading.com. We'd love to have you on the team. We have about 97 slots left. Lots of fundamentals, lots of education, lots of technical analysis breakdowns, Zoom calls, and a community with like-minded individuals, along with our in-depth crypto research channel. Many blessings to you guys. Be cognizant, be aware, and I'll see you guys in the next video breakdown.